Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Realtor Reacts. This week we're going to uh, check in with, I believe it's Jerry and Linda. Don't quote me on that. These are the Village's newcomers. I remember way back when this channel first launched. I didn't pay much attention to it. Everybody has a YouTube channel today, so I think it's fantastic. They've done quite well for themselves in this environment. I'm thrilled. Um, we're gonna dive into this particular video. It's about 15 minutes long. I noticed that despite my best efforts, I can't help but to weigh in. Kind of the point of Realtor Reacts, right? I found the title of this one interesting. And I think that even though I haven't really pre-watched this one, I think that there might be a couple points that we can touch down on here. So let's go ahead and jump in and see what Jerry and Linda have to say.
Hi, everybody.
Hello there.
I'm Jerry.
And I'm Linda.
Hey, and I'm Michael.
We're the newcomers, and today we're in the village of Richmond. Michael invited us over. He's a brand new homeowner. He's going to tell us his story, how he got here. He's still in the process of moving in, so we're not going to have the grand tour today, but we're going to find out a little bit more about his situation.
Did you guys see that? He put Michael on his lamppost. That's most folks put their last name, but Michael's a special guy. Very shiny. He's doing something great with his skin there.
Thanks so much for having us.
Thanks for having me. This is a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, we're glad you can come. Now, Michael wrote us an email, and in this email, he had some concerns. We're going to get to those a little bit later. But first, where are you from? How'd you get here? How do you even know about the villages?
So I've been in my early 50s. I was starting to plan ahead and looking at retirement places, and I zeroed in between the villages and Arizona, did a lot of homework for many years. As I got into my late 50s, as luck had it, my employer offered me early retirement. I wasn't ready to retire yet, so I kind of hung out in Colorado, which is where I was from, and I hung out for about a year trying to figure out what I wanted to do. And then I thought, well, I was really set on going to Arizona for retirement, but I thought, let me try out the villages because I've done so much homework on it. I wanted to see it with my own eyes, and I came out with a lifestyle visit. Just thought I was going to have a fun week's vacation. This was last summer, and immediately fell in love with the place. I've got to move here.
Take that, Arizona.
Made that decision immediately, and I figured out I wanted a new build. I wanted to be close to Brownwood, and at the time, DeLuna was the village that was being built up.
Now, lifestyle visit. When we came, we stayed in Alden bungalows. Some people stay in Atwood. Years past, they've stayed up much farther north. Did you stay in DeLuna for your home?
I did too. My first one was in Collier,
okay,
and the second one was in DeLuna. I did them about 6 weeks apart.
Wow.
I did two because I told my sales agent how much I wanted to move here, so he scheduled the second lifestyle visit with me immediately, and we were very seriously about looking at DeLuna. But then
Interesting. So he stayed in Sector 7, and then on the second one he stayed in Sector 5. Okay. The revisit thing is for B grade accounts. So when you make the decision and you have a strong interest, and that has been denoted, or your representative, because he's working with properties of the villages in this case, your account will get a grade, and that grade will let the scheduling parties know. I don't know if they're still using guest coordinators or if they integrated it with the assistants, but we'll let them know your level of seriousness about moving to the community, and whether or not to offer that. In this case, it looks like the representative went ahead and preempted that based on Michael's level of energy around the idea of moving to the villages, which is fantastic. It's exactly what you're supposed to do. So
I looked across the not the expressway, what are they called?
Turnpike.
The Turnpike, there you go. The Turnpike, and I saw this empty land at the time last summer, and I knew that was going to be Richmond. I'm thinking, oh, that's even closer to Brownwood. And I thought, let me wait for Brownwood to open up, even as much as I wanted to move here right away into DeLuna, knowing it was going to be a gamble, because if I didn't get into Richmond, DeLuna was probably going to be sold out. Well, I tried to get into Richmond. It took me 6 attempts to get into the lottery system.
Oh, my goodness.
And I got the home. The last home I got here, I was...
What does this say? It took Michael 6 attempts. Okay. Yes, that's what he said. Yes.
number 1 out of 20, and I had 2 hours to make a decision. I had to buy a sight unseen because I was in Colorado, but I'd done my homework on my lifestyle visit, so I knew the.
So we kind of talked about this recently, how the lottery system, 2-hour hold. These are the kind of things that occur when there's too much demand and not enough inventory, which is not atypically the case. I highly doubt that this would be the circumstances now. Let's go ahead and continue. And I only bring that up just because I don't want folks to get the wrong impression about urgency. You don't necessarily have to be jumping through all these hoops and moving this quickly on something. In Michael's case here, and this is really good news, in Michael's case, he had already made some firm decisions. And even though he hasn't necessarily spoke about it, he clearly has a location preference, and he has a special component. He is familiar with Brownwood. Brownwood is of interest to him, and so the closer that he can get to Brownwood, the more his interest level will increase there. He hasn't talked much about the home, but it looks like it's a patio villa. So let's continue here. This is
floor plan. I just did not know the house or the exact location, and I had 2 hours to make a decision, and I was so happy to get it. And that's when I moved in, and I closed in December.
Well, there's the answer. He really didn't think much about the floor plan or have many options. Apparently, at this time, it was kind of like back in 04 and 05, where this is what's available, and either you take it or leave it type of situation. That error in sales history was not great. There was because I came into the community in the era that followed that one. And there was a lot of hurt feelings, and there was a lot of resentment towards the developer because of these tactics. And in hindsight, you might argue that, well, it's all you can really do to try and be fair is develop these lottery systems and put these time frames around making decisions. I wasn't aware at the time that this was happening because I don't work for the developer anymore, but it doesn't surprise me given everything that was happening in 2020 and through 2022 there.
Buying from long distance like we did, it's such a stressful thing.
Mm-hmm.
You'd been here and you kind of knew, but you'd never really seen this house.
Right.
Richmond is okay. This has to stop. There we go. Richmond is only a 5-minute cart ride from Brownwood. Yeah, I mean, that's a fair statement.
You knew the general area, but like us, we got lucky, and I think you did too. You're not really going to hear the turnpike from here.
No.
There are no train tracks close by, I don't believe.
No.
And you don't have a major road nearby.
No, but I don't have the power lines either that you see a lot in the south either. So this was a primo location, Richmond.
So prior to Richmond being released, I'm looking at the map, and yeah, Richmond is going to be popular. Richmond is going to be like Collier, Hillsborough to a certain extent. Basically, anytime you have a village that kind of is around a square, it's going to be popular. It's going to be a relatively easy closeout for the new home sales. And it's going to pull pre-owned sales out of the market because there's going to be a lot of energy around that location when it becomes available. So we can pretty much predict that at this point.
This is a patio villa. And what's the name of the villa neighborhood?
This is called the Oliver Villas, and I'm in a Topaz model.
The Topaz, and that's a new one for us, isn't it?
I've not heard of it.
And how many?
Yeah, the Topaz has been very popular, and I could see why. It's if I remember correctly, the Topaz is based off of the Colony. It's just a different kitchen setup.
8 bedrooms and baths.
It's 2 bedrooms, 2 baths. I've got a full 2-car garage, which is nice, and it's about 1,200 square feet.
Oh, well, that's perfect. And you're single.
I'm single, so just for me, it's a perfect size.
Yeah. And
Ladies, he's single.
do you recall what was the bond on this purchase?
I want to say it's slightly more than 20,000, so in the low 20s.
Okay, good. And do you have any idea what annual percentage rate?
I want to say high 2%, like 2.7, 2.8.
Oh, wow.
Okay. It's not bad. No.
By the way, we're always on our videos, we tell you, don't hold us to the strict letter of the law because we don't know. So we're telling you best guesstimates on some things. So that's the neighborhood. Okay.
So you can look up bonds and you can look up the interest rate and everything. You could do that on the CDD website. You just need unit lot. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me because those bond issuances would have been prior to the rate hikes. So they're gonna be between 2.75 and 3.5, maybe high threes. And this kind of goes to something I was saying in a previous video about, how much does the bond really influence your decision making? In a patio villa, you're not dealing with a lot of land. You're dealing with a truncated home site. So your bond is not going to be terribly large based on the amount of land that you own with that purchase.
You've got a tiny lot here. Have you already arranged your landscaping and
No, I don't. I've got actually today I'm going to get an estimate for a bird cage. And
so that's this corner lot I'm showing you is bigger. Yes, it is bigger.
And I'm going to do that first, and then once I do that, then I want to put in the landscaping. So that's going to probably be done in the next couple of months.
Okay, is this a thing that they do where they put the text down here at the bottom? Is this a regular? I really don't watch these guys. This is my first video checking them out. I think her name is Linda, if I'm not mistaken. She looks so crunched in there. She just, oh my goodness. This is a good idea to hire the same landscaping crew as your neighbors to minimize. Yeah, because they can control costs because they're centralizing their business or centralizing their clientele. I make the same recommendations with my customers.
Did you happen to see our show with Old Sarge, who showed me their home? And he outlined lots of providers for some of the things that he got, such as flooring. And he didn't do a bird cage. They actually upgraded their bird cage to glass, but that's be a good resource for you.
Sure.
All right. So what kind of activities are you hoping to do here?
Oh boy, I've hit the ground running since I've only been here really because I just sold my house in Colorado just a few weeks ago. So I've been going back and forth. So I feel like I've only really been here for a few weeks. I've already joined shuffleboard and they made me the team captain. So that's lots of fun actually. I thought it was gonna be kind of hokey, but it's turned out to be a great time with people. I've signed up for the golf academy because I've never golfed ever. I've got that coming up in May, where you golf every day for 5 days, and then on the second week they take you out to an executive course, and they limit it to just 6 folks. So I'm doing that. I've got a pickleball lesson, my first one tomorrow, so I'm looking forward to that. I signed up my bowling league, starts next week, and I go to the Sharon and the Savannah quite a bit. I just saw Bernadette Peters last week. I was at Carpenter's this week. So I'm really I joined the Colorado Club. I joined them a few weeks ago. So I'm really trying, as a single guy, I want to get out there and meet as many people as I can. And everyone I've met has just been fantastic folks and very welcoming. So
sounds like you're kind of slacking off a little bit.
I don't think you're running. I think you're sprinting.
What a busy schedule, but that's what you came for.
Absolutely.
Yeah, if you're considering the villages, be warned. It's not going to take you long at all to get kind of folded in to the lifestyle here. My most recent closing, I literally had 2 or 3 neighbors kind of approach me after we had completed the closing, and I went back to the house to make sure they had gotten settled in properly. And as I was leaving that final time, 2 or 3 of the neighbors had come over and kind of were asking me questions and and I was telling them how great the folks were and encouraging them to go over and have a conversation and get to know them. I don't need to do that by any stretch of the imagination at all. As a matter of fact, prior to that incident or that event, there were several neighbors before the ink had even dried on the contract, who were already reaching out to my buyers there, just kind of getting them folded in to things and inviting them out to various lifestyle activities that they're participating in. So I love that. It's one of my favorite parts about the community, and it's been very consistent the entire, almost 2 decades I've been here now. That's been a very consistent element. So let's continue. I love this smile. She's got such a great smile.
They say motion is lotion. So by doing all these activities, you're going to stay younger, right?
That's the plan.
Yeah.
You told me already he has a golf cart on order, going to be delivered really soon.
Yes.
And the village's golf cart has loaned you one in the meantime.
Yes. So when I moved here and closed in December, that's when I bought a brand new. That's kind of like the retirement gift for myself. I wanted a brand new custom golf cart where I picked out the paint, picked out the seats, all that. But they said you're not going to get it until May, so that's next month. But they gave you a loaner during that time for no cost. So that's a wonderful, wonderful perk.
Okay, so I think I want to add a clarification point here, because what I heard, I believe it's Jerry, say was that the villages had given you a loaner. And when he initially said that, I took that to mean that Properties of the Villages, the real estate company, had given him a loaner, which I found very interesting because golf cars come with liabilities. I wouldn't say that they would never do it. I just don't see why they would in that particular case. But no, what it sounds like is that he custom ordered a golf cart, and Village's golf car gave him a loaner, the dealership. So I just wanted to stop and clarify that for a moment.
What was your time from picking it out until you expect delivery?
As far as the golf cart?
Yeah.
5 months.
5 months. It was longer than that last year because of supply issues and whatever. So that's not too bad.
And you know what? Time flies here. You're going to find it flies.
What did you pick out, electric or gas?
Boy, good question. So.
Oh, you set him up. This is a setup. Don't answer that, Mike. Michael, don't answer that. You don't.
When we come here on a lifestyle visit, they just give you, the basic older model. Right. It runs really loud. It sounds like a lawnmower.
Yeah.
And I thought, I want electric. So I did a test drive on the electric, and I loved it. And they told me, hey, you may want to do a test drive in the Yamaha
Quiet Tech.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, just for the heck of it, let me take it. And that is a nice one. And that's what I actually ended up going with. It's pretty quiet, actually, and I'm looking forward to it. So.
Well, people ask us all the time. That's why I got into the golf cart thing with them. They ask us, our preference is gas and Quiet Tech and Yamaha.
Yeah,
and that's what we have as well. And so I think you're going to really like that. What color did you get?
Red with white racing stripes. So.
Excellent.
So there you go. If you see Michael driving around his red with white racing stripes, say hi. Why is that a setup? Just like in the villages, you have gardenia folks and you have lantana folks, and you have electric golf car folks and you have gas golf car folks, and oh boy, these two groups don't mix. And if you get them off on a tangent, you're in for it. So, and this is on the internet. So, poor Michael, bad Jerry.
All right, so you've immersed yourself in all the activities. You've joined the golf cart club. You've got the home here.
Yep.
What's next?
As far as activities, or so let me just kind of tell you kind of what happened here when I closed in December. So I was very excited about closing. I was out here the first day closing. I'm going to meet all my new neighbors. And I realized very quickly here in the Oliver Villas, I would say at least over 50%, if not more, of these homes were bought as investments. Mm-hmm. On my small block that I live on, I am the only resident owner. All the other homes are either Airbnbs or they're small short-term rentals. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of, that's just why I was a little disappointed, to be honest with you. I still try to stay positive as far as meeting neighbors because I haven't met really.
Okay, so this is really the part and kind of why I selected this video, was to get to this point. In the villages, every product type has almost like a designated target market. Okay, we're going to talk about rules and exceptions. Okay, as a rule, these smaller 2-2 products are generally engineered and aimed towards seasonal or part-time ownership, okay, or investment, particularly with the patio villas. Also, when you're looking at the pricing scale, right, patio villas are at the bottom. That means that as an investor, you can pick these up relatively inexpensive. You can get more volume, and you can kind of cement yourself in. There's a lot of reasons that folks invest in patio villas. It's one of the major ones is that if you buy a patio villa, even if you're not going to occupy it, even if you're just going to rent it for a couple of years, okay, it keeps you in alignment with the marketplace because our marketplace tends to outperform and outpace your home marketplace. I believe he said he was from Colorado. Now, I don't know anything about Colorado's market, but I'm willing to bet you that if he had started in when he was 50 and he came to the villages and he had purchased a patio villa, okay, even though he wasn't going to retire and move into it until he was 55, that patio villa would keep pace with the market and allow him to transition in. Conversely, if he hadn't done something along those lines, the prices are going to outpace his retirement funding. He's going to wind up with less home, or he's going to compromise in some kind of way. So I say all this to basically illustrate that when you're in a patio villa neighborhood or even a courtyard villa neighborhood to a certain extent, right, you're going to have to expect there's going to be a fair amount of renters, particularly the newer that you are. Okay, there's a lot of risk mitigation for investors in particular who are very risk adverse to new home inventory, and the appeal that comes with that, and the energy around the new home space, right? There's going to be folks who are going to want to rent there and test out the lifestyle and spend the summer and figure out what the heat is like and all these things. And a patio villa, while more popular during season, is still, particularly these newer versions with the 2-car garages. Patio villas only used to have 1.5 car garages standard. And they were never really ideal for full-time residency. With the 2-car garage, this has now moved them into a category of being viable for full-time residency because you have the storage space there. So that series has changed, but its target market still very much remains the same in that it's because it's on the lower end of the price scale, it's going to attract investors. It's going to attract people who are looking to get a early anchor in the community home-wise. And you're going to find that this is going to be the situation most of the time. Let's go ahead and move on.
A lot of neighbors here in this area yet. I need to kind of get out beyond my street and meet other neighbors here in Richmond. But the neighbors I've met in the people I've met in the clubs, the other villagers have just been awesome folks. So I'm starting to make some acquaintances. But I thought it would be a little, that initial kind of rush you get moving into your home and meeting your fellow neighbors didn't happen for me here.
Well, you watch our channel, and you heard us say, the first night, one neighbor comes over with fried chicken. The next night, another neighbor comes over. You didn't get that.
I didn't get any of that.
You didn't get any of it because of the rentals. Now, do you know, are these rentals all owned by different people, or did one person gobble up a bunch of them?
All by different people. Some of these, like next door, is owned by somebody who lives in Hawkins. The one across the street actually lives in Colorado as well, but she's a long distance landlord. And actually, the one down on the corner here is being used as a lifestyle visit. So I guess that's owned by the villagers, I would assume then. So it's all different people.
Okay. Well, if you don't mind it, if you're up for it, we have the greatest viewers in the world, and I absolutely mean that. Every day when we read our comments and emails, it restores your faith in mankind. If you saw our letter last week from a person who came here that was really not happy, a lot of our viewers reached out, and they're going to try to make that person happy. Here, you wanted some camaraderie on your street. You wanted the driveway parties. You wanted to get together. You wanted to sit out in your chair, have people drop by. And now it's going to be transient because all these people are going to be renters.
Right.
If you want to post your email address, we'll put it out there. And if you live near Richmond and you want another.
I love the contemplation on Michael's face. Do I want to put my email address on the internet? Yeah, I could certainly understand that, Michael. Going back to what I was talking about earlier, right? It's not forever. Neighborhoods, as that new home energy kind of moves down the road, as it does, then a lot of that, my neighborhood is full of renters, situation will abate. More to the extent that it's feasible in a patio villa neighborhood, more full-time renters or full-time residents and seasonal folks will start to populate into that space. And again, I really want to preface this. A lot of times, you know, there's the 55 or older thing is around occupancy. It's not around ownership. Okay, I could go buy homes in the villages. I can't live in them at 41 years old, but I can absolutely go buy investment property in the villages. There is nothing preventing me from doing that. Okay, a lot of times people are pre-purchasing, right? Because historically in the villages, prices have gone up. And I know what you're thinking, Chris, I just watched prices do this. Yeah, but prior to that happening, you watched a historic spike of 22 to 24%. If you have a historic spike in a market that generally yields out 3.5% annually, and you shoot up 22, 24%, yeah, there's going to be an adjustment period, right? And then you had interest rates increase. That's a gut punch right along with it. So there's going to be some adjustments over that period of time. But traditionally, historically, without these other stimulus coming in, other stimulants, the market is pretty solid, and it trends out pretty evenly, and it tends to outperform and outpace your origin market. In this case, for Michael here, it's Colorado. So let's go ahead and jump back in here. I don't want it to be all doom and gloom, right? In time, most issues get resolved naturally. And I am sorry that Michael didn't have the welcome wagon that most folks can expect because of that.
Bocce player, or you want to learn to golf along with Michael, or any of that, you're be welcome to contact him.
Absolutely.
And hopefully make your experience a little bit better.
That'd be great.
You're going to upgrade some things here, aren't you?
I am. I'm going to put in new flooring. It comes with rolled laminate, and I want the vinyl planking, so I'm getting an estimate for that this week. And I'm also going to upgrade the counters because it comes with just your basic Formica counters, and I want something a little bit more substantial than that. So those and that and the bird cage. So those are my plans, and then obviously the landscaping too.
Yeah.
That's what people do. You know, they come in here and they make it their own.
Right.
You know, some people put in crown molding and the what are they called? The sky tubes called. We have the solar tubes.
Solar tubes.
And they're nice. And you'll find as you go, you know, you add things on, but it's very nice as is.
Oh, it is.
And like you said, it's perfect for a single gentleman.
Yeah, I'm very happy here.
And a cat.
And a cat, yeah.
And the kitty cat's got a beautiful kitty cat. All right. Anything else you want to tell the people that are coming about your experience, your process?
No, I just tell it, anybody who's out there who hasn't done a lifestyle visit, you need to do that. You need to come see this for yourself. Like I said, I did so much homework on the villages for 5 years, watched every video. In fact, even my sales agent told me that he thought I knew more about the villages than he knew when I came here.
He shouldn't.
But you've got to see it for yourself, because as much as I was looking forward to coming here, it just blew me away when I finally got here. So
you hit on one thing a while ago. The entertainment here is top notch.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The things that you saw, you said Bernadette Peters.
I saw Bernadette Peters last week,
Carpenters.
the Carpenters tribute this week. ABBA, I've got tickets for that. That's next week or next month, the tribute. So, yeah, I saw Christopher Cross here a few months ago. The entertainment here is top notch. I also bought tickets for the Philharmonic that I go to every month as well, too.
Nice.
We have tickets for a few things coming up. We're going to see Gary Lewis and the Playboys. I can't wait for that. Those are my sing-along songs. I love those.
And
Over Leonid and Friends, and then the next night, the Modern Gentleman.
So you're probably wondering why the sudden movement and glitch there. Full disclosure, my editing software and video capturing, for whatever reason, caps out at 30 minutes. Even though I endeavor to keep these videos under 30 minutes, I almost fail every time on that. So as I'm going through and watching the video and reacting, it will stop and then start a playback loop, which is how I know that it did that. Beyond that, because that happens, I stop in the middle of the video here and I go back and edit the first 30-minute segment. So while I was doing that, I noticed that for whatever reason, this particular time, the audio for Jerry and Linda is kind of choppy. I don't know if it's the mics they're using or the capturing software on my end. And I'm trying to clean it up the best I can. So I apologize now if the audio is undesirable. I am trying to play with the volume controls. I don't have, deep audio corrective type of tools here to work with this. My audio seems to be fine. I've even gone to the extent, because there's two layers of audio when we're doing this process. I've even removed the second layer when I'm not talking to try and clean it up. Usually that fixes the problem. Doesn't seem to be the case this time. So I apologize if the audio quality on Jerry and Linda and Michael here is not top notch. I'm doing the best I can to try and remedy that. I believe this is more or less where we left off. We were having a conversation about various bands and music events that they enjoy. So let's jump back in here for the final, looks like 2 minutes. Oh, I was so close. Okay, let's jump back in.
Of those.
And Leonid.
Over Leonid and Friends,
Yes.
and then the next night, the Modern Gentleman, which is a Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons type of group.
Right,
So
right.
those are what we're going to be doing. But we're so glad you invited us over. Now listen, I want to ask you something.
Yeah.
Probably in 6 months, this place is going to be different. You're going to have new flooring, like you said. You're going to have a bird cage. You'll probably spiff it up here and there, and his furniture hasn't been delivered yet.
No.
He's waiting for furniture. And now, where did you order it locally, or did you order it online?
Online.
Okay. And what's your wait time on that?
It's anywhere from, I've got a few pieces have come in, but it's trickling in. I still have 16 more pieces coming.
Holy
and
cow.
It's between next week all the way into August and September.
I'm going to very briefly touch on this. We're talking almost specifically about patio villas, and really tutus in general, but patio villas in particular. You want to be a little careful with over improvement. The newer versions with the 2-car garages, this may not be as true for those, but for the majority of patio villas throughout the community, this holds true. There is a threshold by which, because of the type of product that patio villas are, you don't want to go crazy with the improvements or upgrades, enhancements, however you choose to label it. But I had a circumstance one time, and don't ask me how the heck this happened, because, well, throughout different eras, different priorities and different construction norms, but there was a patio villa, I want to say it was in Sector 3 on the north end past the Marion County line. And there was a pool on the back end, and this blew my mind because you generally can't put a pool on a patio villa. There's just not enough land. But this one had a pool, and despite our best efforts, that home ain't going anywhere. It's $20,000-$30,000, and it defeats the real intent and purpose behind what a patio villa is supposed to be in the target market that it goes towards. So that was a challenge, and you got to be a little careful with over improvement here. We're going to do a whole insight video on over improvement in the future. I just wanted to pop in real quick on that one. Okay, let's get back in here and wrap this up.
Okay.
So, and they keep pushing them out. So it'll get here when it gets here, I guess. So.
But what I was getting to was your place is going to be beautiful. It's already beautiful. It's going to be better. Will you invite us back after you get it all set up? And we'll come and give all our viewers a look at what it turns into.
Okay, I'd be pleased to. Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks so much for having us.
Thanks for having me.
If you liked our video today, please press that like and subscribe button and share it with all your friends. Until next time.
See you when you get here.
I mean, I'm not going to say no to Linda. I'm going to push that like and subscribe button as soon as I can find it. Let's see here. How about over here in YouTube?
Neurologists are stunned.
No.
They've confirmed that.
We don't need that. There we go. Subscribe. Like. Okay. Yeah, furniture, poor guy. So that was interesting. It's one of those aspects of the community, the percentage of homes occupied by renters versus residencies. The only thing I try and point out to folks, and I understand Michael's frustration with this circumstance, those renters are future residents. They just haven't gotten into the life circumstance or financial circumstances to make that part of the process occur. And I love my renters almost as much as I love my residents. Do I have a favorite child? Yeah, I have a favorite child. It's my residents, but I recognize that my renters are a key driving force here in the community, and really go a long way towards helping us to maintain those solid home values and that solid annual growth rate. So listen, this video has already gone fairly long. Again, I apologize if the audio on the newcomers side is not fantastic. I'm not entirely sure what the issue is there. I suspect it's how their audio is taken in. But this has been Realtor Reacts. Thanks so much for joining us once again. I'll see you next week. Feel free to browse around the channel and pop into a couple other, the Insight series is getting relaunched. There's still a few episodes up there in the interim. So feel free to pop in and look about, derive some value, learn something new. Thanks so much for joining us. Look forward to seeing you next week.